Hey everybody, welcome to Squatch Talk. I'm Pat. And here we are, open mic. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, chat? Let's see who we got here. Usual crowd. Good to see you, man. How's everybody doing tonight? Who wants to jump in and talk Squatch? What's up, Raptor? Baden? Bay? Something to squatch about. Gary, what's up, Gary? So, hope everybody's doing well tonight. Just gonna fire it up, see what happens. I've already posted the link. I'll post it again. I can't pin it to the top. I think that's one of those you gotta have 1,000 subs to do that, which makes no sense. What's up, Bobcat? How you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a minute, Bobcat. Hope you're doing well, bro. Nikki, I guess Nikki's here. What's up, Nikki? Oh, cool. Should be interesting. Hopefully, all right. So I've been having problems with my internet. There he is. Okay. So hopefully this will work. Lately, for whatever reason, when I add somebody to the stream, like it screws up my internet. I don't know why. So I'll try. Here comes everyone's favorite open mic guy on like all kinds of other channels. First time here. Bigfoot Anon.
What's up? How's it going, man?
Oh, it's not working, is it?
I can hear you.
What's happening, chat? All right, there he is. But I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me?
Nope.
Dang.
Same problem. Yeah, this is a problem I've been having, and it's going to suck. Because I'm going to have to leave the show for at least a couple of minutes.
I remember watching this.
So, this is truly open mic. Without any further ado, Bigfoot Anon gets to host Squatch Talk open mic night until I come back, and hopefully I will. So good luck, man. I will be back.
All right, guys. What's up? What's up? It's an honor to be here because Pat's last name is Turner, and so is my mom's, and so is Tim T's out in Central Florida. So I always like to make the connection that we're always cousins from far along the family tree. But you guys know me. I'm originally from Ohio, moved down to Florida. I've investigated a ton of creatures ranging from, the serpent up in Lake Erie, the Susquehanna seal over in New York, the Ocheesee Pond wild man over here in Florida. I suggest everybody go look up that story. One was captured in the 1800s, taken to a hospital, died 3 years later. Pretty magical. I got the giant bone with me today, so that's pretty cool for everybody to get to see. Movie I was just in, Zillafoot, just came out last week. I basically play myself, and I warned the military that impending doom is coming. They don't listen to me. And, of course, the monsters come. It's pretty magical. I do a bunch of daily paranormal investigations, urban exploring, even just playing Pokemon Go in strange spots. I'm just always trying to stir the pot. I wrote a few books, Monsters and Mysteries Around the Corner, Big Brother Bigfoot, and Erie Swamps Road Trip to Eden. I'm working on 2 more. Got them coming out in the next few months. They're pretty much 90% done. I do a bunch of radio podcasts. I actually have one tonight at 11 Central with Horror Talk from Gypsy Road. We're talking about the scariest movies about the end of the world. And I always try to bring Bigfoot into it. I talk about the creature from the Black Lagoon, the swamp thing, and Mothman prophecies just as much as I can. Cryptids are our bridge to the creator. You know, our ancestors' blood is in them. Our DNA goes outside of this earth. You guys all know me as, you know, the earthling, thousands of continents, ice walls, the firmament is up above. We already know that. Movies have so much reality in them. The only thing to never exist is coincidence. That's one of the lines from my book. Mermaids, dragons, three-headed monsters, it all exists somewhere on this earth. So we just have to pull from the strings of reality just to find out about ourselves. And, you know, the past 2 years been really hard for everybody. So I think it starts with the truth, you know, and I love talking to people in the community and hearing so many stories. I've gotten so many photos sent to me and roars, and I'm also had people offer to send me hair and even blood samples. I told them I don't really have much means of getting them tested or anything. You know, we could always talk to one of the local schools around here. Hey, Pat.
All right, I can hear you now.
Awesome. What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
Just chilling. I had the floor for a couple minutes, so I gave everybody just a little introduction to who I am. But I don't know if you heard at the very beginning, your last name's Turner, and so is my mom's, and so is Tim T's in Central Florida. So we have a little trifecta of Squatch research and knowledge coming about, you know?
All right, cool. I like it. The Turner Squad.
100%, the Turner Squad.
I'm down. So what's up, man? Welcome to the show, man. Glad you're here, bro.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I've been to chat a few times, but it's nice it finally time's up. A lot of times I have like people here with me and we're all just watching, so it doesn't tune in. But I'm here now. The stars have aligned. Mm-hmm. I'm fresh off a wild week. You know, we went hiking at Torreya State Park. We checked out a couple other caverns. Went to a bunch of Squatch hotspots, you know, where Stacy Brown filmed the thermal footage, and there's been a bunch of other sightings. So we had our, you know, flags raised high and the GoPros running, and found a lot of cool tracks and just fun stuff, you know. And then had Infinity Con last weekend where I had a Bigfoot booth and I was spreading the word about our ancestors in the woods and these strange creatures of the darkness, and met a lot of friends. And I did a bunch of interviews. I'm not sure if you saw any of them, but I interviewed a police officer that saw Goat Man. I interviewed another guy that actually took a picture of Sasquatch. I've also talked to a bunch of people. Like this past week, I've gotten like over 15 photos sent to me. A couple of them are private, but a couple of them are just, you know, public domain and very, very suspicious stuff. And we're, you know, I love listening on to you just because you do take different angles at this. You know, you're not all for it, and you bring very interesting people. You know, ranging from Doug H to all the Patricks, Leon, even Mr. Meldrum, and it's just a very cool hodgepodge. So I appreciate the angle that you're taking, and you know, even just the community that you formed. It's very special.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that a lot. You know, it's something that I've always wanted to do since the very beginning, is just have an honest discussion about it either way, you know.
100%.
So, you know, my opinions and my thoughts are my opinions and my thoughts. And obviously, man, the Bigfoot world's a diverse place, you know.
100%.
And it actually, I describe it as tribal almost, you know, because people will cling to that, whatever belief or whatever path that kind of like suits their worldview or their personality even. And so, I mean, I think all that's fair and should be on the table, and we can vet stuff as you know, as well as we can, you know.
100%. That's the special thing of the community. You know, there's just so many different angles, and we all have different you know, ways of life, that everybody's angle is very important. And that's why I just love hearing it. Some people are strictly animal, some people are human hybrid, some people are, you know, paranormal or the woo. I'm supernatural, like supernatural, just like deja vu and echolocating and how octopuses can use camouflage. Just think the perfect predator of nature's combinations. And, of course, Leon and Patrick were talking about emotional discharge, how a baby can feel the parent from 25, feet away. Times that by, of course, 100. And then think about infrasound and dreams and just the commonality of deja vu and amnesia and just miracles. Miracles do exist. So these creatures that are just unpoisoned, untampered with, they have barely any distractions other than survival. Of course, they're going to be the apex. We very rarely surprise these creatures because they have the grid on lock. But like people, there are different levels of them, good and evil, dumb and smart, tolerant and intolerant. They have nothing for humans. They have love for humans. I've heard, the Dennis Martin story, Henry McCabe, Call Infinity. All those are some suspicious Sasquatch stories. But then in Ocala, Florida, I heard of a small young girl camper. She had a compound fracture in her leg. She was going to bleed out and die. And an orange orangutan looking lady brought her to the camp, and all the counselors were just dumbfounded, and it's just beautiful. So not all the stories are, horrible and horrendous. Predators don't warn us. So, bears, panthers, and other monsters, they're not going to warn you. So if we do hear a loud hoot or a crack or something, it's just trying to get us away, honestly, in a pretty safe way. I've had, I recorded on my GoPro loud hoots and trees breaking down and then things wading through the water. I've had multiple experiences that left me trembling, and then other ones I didn't even raise a hair on my arm. So it's all about just the vibrations, and that's all we are, protons and electrons. And we can be particle form and waveform. Most of the time we're particle form, but we can be waveform. And as humans, that's mostly death when we become our spirit. But them, the true earthlings of this planet, this object that we're living on, they are in touch with it. So of course the chiefs, not every single Sasquatch, an ancient one, and crawlers from the descent, they're not all in touch with it. But if they've worked, I think they can step into that waveform in some ways. And of course, infrasound and just straight fear could also make it seem waveform to our ocular eyes. We only see things how they are. We don't see everything. We don't hear everything. There's so many frequencies that make us up that we don't even tap into. And I'm really into psychedelics as well. So I like tapping into stuff that the Native Americans were doing. I make a lot of potions and do a lot of mushroom tea. It's all about tapping into the stuff that they were tapping into. Damn well, Sasquatch is, eating these herbs and expanding their minds out there. So, we're not even on a normal playing field. We're dealing with these creatures that might be angels and demons, and they have crazy DNA that could cure anything that we ever have. So it's a beautiful thing, but sadly there's a lot of darkness in it, and there's a lot of tribal community too. Me and you both have been scorned and scattered and torn across the concrete, but then again, we're also very powerful vibrational people, and people remember us. So that's all that matters. It's how the wind blows. Ride it or fight it. Yeah.
You can't please everybody. Like I always like to use the analogy of, the greatest love song ever written that, that people just fall in love with. There's an equal amount of people that hate it and will talk shit about it, so it's all subjective, right? At the end of the day.
And movies too, you'll see a great movie and it touches you.
Yeah.
Some people just don't see it.
Yeah. Sorry, I just sneezed there.
I like the mute sneeze. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was fancy.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a sneeze. I know, but I didn't want to sneeze in audio all over everybody. So yeah, like I like that you use the octopus. I use the octopus, dude, as a example of supernatural. And the way I always put it is, if you pluck somebody off this planet who didn't know anything about an octopus, like not even like a funny, cartoon octopus or whatever, if you plucked them off the planet and showed them an octopus and what it could do, they would think it's supernatural,
100%.
like magical, you know.
Yeah.
And
especially if they see deep into it too. You know how they could squeeze into a quarter size, and then how the males never stop growing either until they reproduce. So these ones deep in caves, whoo, they get so big, and then they can crawl through little cracks like that. Whoa.
Yeah, thus a giant octopus, right? You know, and so I love that analogy for like when you say like supernatural in a different way, which you kind of did too. You were like, no, I mean supernatural, like focused on natural, you know. And the octopus is a great example. Of course, it lives underwater, so you know we're talking about something that's walking around on land, and couldn't be further away from an octopus, but still, I think it's a great example,
Dolphins and bats. There are so many examples of spectacular creatures that have that extra side to them, and so many bugs too, how they can lift 10 times their weight, and just even crazy facts like the weight of ants outweighs the amount of humans. Like, things are just stranger than they appear. We have to stop acting like we know it all, because I've met our third grade teachers. They weren't telling us that.
No, I agree with that, man. I mean, I agree with what you just said. We as a species need to stop acting like we know it all, because we don't. That's for sure. Yeah. And so whatever that is that, is or isn't true at the end of the day, whatever it is, we could both agree we as a species do not know it all.
Right, because what are thoughts? And it's all just electricity and other organisms and energy that hasn't even been calculated. Like, the soul cannot be calculated. I love the one experiment that did happen, though, that they said, what the second you die, you're 21 less grams. That's the weight of your soul. It's pretty interesting. Your pineal gland explodes with DMT, dimethyltryptamine, the exact moment you die. The same stuff we make when we dream, the exact moment you die, your system floods with it. So that is just so much for me, just meaning like afterlife or the next life. It's all, we've all been here from the start. Coincidence is the only thing that never exists, and energy was never created nor destroyed. So we've always existed from the beginning. So it's just, we have to tap into those frequencies, and meditation and dreaming and fasting, and honestly conversation and love and sex and drugs. A lot of that is to tap in to who we used to be. Who are the people living under the Grand Canyon? Who built all the mounds in Ohio? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. And I agree with some of the drug stuff too, man. And I'm not a drug guy. Like, I found out like a long time ago, like, not for me. Like, I don't like it, like a long time ago. And so, but I do understand, like, I mean, there's something about psychotropics that does seem to sort of, it does more than create some like alternate universe in your head. My perception of psychotropics has always been that it starts to open things up into what you normally call reality that's actually there. And it sort of opens up your mind or your optics, or like however it's connected. So I'm a firm believer that psychotropics actually do like let you see things that you couldn't see without them, and they're actually there to some degree or another. Like, I can't really put my finger on that, So when people say that their face is melting, that's not actually happening. That's more of an acid thing, but I don't know. There's just something going on there that I don't even think we understand about that world,
100%. And that's all I'm trying to do is open the door to connect the worlds, but you hit it right on the dot, man. That just opens the door to seeing what else is out there that, is there at all times. But, you just need that extra currency and electricity in your brain right here where it would light up. But I think it lies in that connection. There's mescaline and San Pedro cactus. And we're not talking about hardcore drugs. We're talking about natural stuff that, God and the ancient shaman people were making potions of. And of course, modern society just shoves down, Percocets and Xanax when, of course, just one sip of some ayahuasca would, make everything feel at least better, just because you would be a little less hard on yourself and open up some doors to magic. And if magic exists, then all that little petty stuff, it comes a little less trivial.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I actually believe that more people would benefit from the use of mushrooms than they would Percocet or Xanax, honestly. I don't hate to say that. I mean, I actually think that that's true, and dude, I don't have a whole lot of data to go on. I think it's just my instinct tells me that. And again, dude, I don't do drugs. You won't see me eating a mushroom. I did that one time. Not for me. Again, like not for me, dude.
For a camp trying to lure in a Sasquatch, only one person has to be doing them, because that will send those vibrations, and whatever creatures are in the woods are going to see that thermal going crazy. They're going to say, wow, I haven't seen those vibrations since, 100 years ago when the Seminole Indians were around the fire. Let's check it out. And I've definitely had some strange encounters and just, of course, UFO experiences on mushrooms. Once you look in the sky on mushrooms or Lucy, wow, you see a lot more stars. You start seeing plasma. You start seeing different colors. It's a beautiful thing. And then time it up with the blood moon or eclipse or something very, Halloween or Friday the 13th, something else, out there. Woo, it gets the vibrations going, man. And that's, I'm not all about that research, but I'm open to that research, and I'm just trying to bring that into somewhat of a category, because when we go out on these big hunts and hikes, with 5 people or even 30 people, I think it's beneficial to at least have one person doing something, even tobacco dipping, leave a little bit of dip somewhere and just, try to research that, see if some fairies come up and try to trade it with, the gremlins. But I'm always about trying to stir the pot in weird ways, but in respectable ways too, because I've learned my lesson by, doing tree knocks in the woods and loud hoots when you're super far in and, you don't have a safe route back. It's not smart to tempt these creatures because we don't speak their language. At least I don't. Native Americans do, and ancient Egyptians, and then the ancient Asians. Of course, that's where the samurai chatter came from. I heard a lot of cool theories. Of course, I think samurai chatter comes from thousands of years ago, millions of years ago. But I heard another cool story about how the Asian immigrant workers were working on the railroad in America, and they would be yelling all day, their Asian slang. Right. Maybe the creatures picked it up from over there and, used it. How they hear a children's voice, your name, a machine, your phone ringer. You might think your phone's, they kidnap your phone and then they have it over there. They lure you into a trap. You're Albert Osmond, you're one of these slaves, and the female's licking the bottom of your feet till it's raw and you're in a hole. I don't know if everybody heard that story before, but yes, I do not want to be kidnapped by no female Bigfoot, unless she's fine. I don't want to discriminate.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, yes. I mean, the samurai chatter goes back to the Moorhead, recordings, which are interesting. And I love the fact that they were, that you could document. It's actually documented. They were actually recorded in that decade, right? The 70s, which takes out all kinds of technology, right?
Yep.
Basically, it makes it to where, well, whatever you're hearing there, if it's not something we don't understand, then it's a person who can make those sounds, and I'm not sure that's the case at all, but yeah, that's what really makes them interesting. And of course, what you hear is also interesting, and it's hard, I think when people say samurai chatter, I think it's because of, the, like Japanese have a way of really talking like this in deep voices. And so it's almost more like the deep voice thing. I mean, all I hear is gibberish. I don't hear any kind of Asian language in there at all. None, you know. But it sounds like samurai, proud samurai, you know, like all that kind of stuff. So
Definitely. And in the Mummy 3, you know, the one with Rise of the Emperor, they have the Yetis that literally like help the army. So overseas, you know, these creatures are known. That's why I always make the joke down here in Florida. I'm like, yo, everybody knows the skunk ape exists. Like it's Florida, you know, the rest of the world has to follow suit. Just like, you know, restrictions with the pandemic. Come on, guys. We've been free the last 2 years. Like, check my Instagram, check my YouTube. I'm at pro games, no mask, no passport. Come on, guys. We're human beings. Stop acting like little nuts.
Well, it's coming back, and I don't want to get into a serious COVID discussion, but it's coming back, dude. I mean, people are fed up with it, you know. So yeah,
Heck yeah, man.
As annoying as it was, or for whatever reason, people have different opinions. You know, I know people that got COVID, man, it knocked them on their ass like no other. You know, and I'm thinking, well, I don't want that to happen to me. You know, much less, you know, end up on a ventilator because I fucking smoke. But you know,
I work at a comic book store, retro new games and stuff. We sell and trade stuff all the time, and I've been sharing blunts with people for 2 years. They still haven't isolated the virus yet. You know, do not go on a ventilator. That is pretty much kills you. Hydrochloroquine, come on, it cures it. Anybody see the Fauci emails? Like, come on. We all saw these CEOs stepping down before this. Like, I've been calling this out for years on my Twitter, Pat.
No, I hear you, man. And that's cool, dude. But let me ask you this, dude: as a guy in Florida and you know, a Bigfoot guy, man, it's like, what do you think's going on in Florida? Because that's a fascinating place to me for them to be. And I'm not saying they aren't there, but what's fascinating about it, what fascinates the most about me is, number one, I mean, Florida is a thick place, man. It's thick year round, you know. So anytime people start talking about looking for Bigfoot in Florida, my first thought is, man, like, really? I mean, you're in Vietnam down there, you know. And then in number two, they would as a flesh and blood species, let's say, they would almost certainly be trapped there. I don't see a way out of Florida. I've tried to look for a path, and I really don't see one. So what do you think about those two things? Like what's going on in Florida? Like, you know, it's a thick, you know, almost jungly place, you know, very tropical. And do you think they're trapped there?
Yeah, I think they're definitely trapped here, but I think they're happy here because they have so much in the swamp to feed on, and the swamps are so dense. But we've seen them move, you know, through big grass, tall trees, knocking them over. They can maneuver through anything, of course. But over here, I'm in the Panhandle. I used to live in Lakeland, right in Central Florida, right by Lettuce Lake, where a ton of sightings have been. Of course, and the Green Swamp is a plethora of them. But over here in the Panhandle, we have a ton of caverns and stuff. So they are in huge numbers here. And Donnie Miller, you know, from the Bigfoot Odyssey interview, he almost got kidnapped by a Bigfoot right here in town, and he's seen him on, you know, multiple occasions. And we've photographed him here and recorded him on sound. But one of the most stories, before I get into the whole Florida thing, the most famous Bigfoot story that should be known by everybody, it was on the cover of the New York Times in the early days. One was captured in the Ocheesee Pond in the 1800s, and it was taken to the Florida State Hospital for 3 years and ended up dying there, and they buried it. So they have the bones, they have the DNA, they have the pictures, they named him John Doe. Everybody knows it around here. I know people that work there, and they know it too. And but sadly, there's thousands of skeletons there because Andrew Jackson had a camp for Native Americans, and a lot of them died, and a lot of criminally insane people. But of course, they have sonar technology. There's a building on top of it now, but they could get to it if they want. But, you know, after Mount St. Helens, they have bodies, guys. You know, they have so many bodies. They literally raise these things from kids and then track the good Sasquatch, the natural Sasquatch out here. They have military Sasquatch. I know this sounds crazy, but they raise these things and then they use their senses to find Sasquatch out there. Like, guys, it's so much bigger than, you know, oh, do they exist? Like, yeah, they exist, and they're being raised to hunt down the other ones because there's a genocide. It's crazy, guys. But the Ocheezy Pond Wildman, I suggest everybody to look it up on YouTube. There's a bunch of documentaries on it. And why aren't the TV shows touching it? Because it's too concrete. You know, it's all entertainment on TV. But there are some good documentaries about it. But Florida is a haven for these creatures because there is just so much places to hide, and there's islands and these canals, and in the Everglades there's a bunch of pyramids that never even been talked about. The mounds over here in Jacksonville over to Tallahassee, there's a whole line of them, and they all align with the moon and the summer solstice and the winter equinox, and it's very, very magical. And there's tons of Native American mounds and the convergence of ley lines here. All the ley lines go to the Bermuda Triangle. You have to come through Florida to go to the Bermuda Triangle. Whatever's going on over there, if it's a portal to heaven or the underworld or government testing, something magnetizes all the strange this way. But Florida has just always been strange. The Native Americans have always been battling these cabbage men and trading with them. And, you know, the Creature from the Black Lagoon was filmed right here. And the Swamp Thing is based, you know, in swampy areas, just like Louisiana. Right. Pretty much Florida to Louisiana, all the way to the Texas border, is just a huge swamp. So it's just the corner, the armpit, the ankle, the dirty sock of America. And I think a lot of these creatures come here. And right here in Western Florida, the Panhandle has caverns and the aquifer below us and the subterranean caverns of Earth and the pillars of Earth that hold us up. So, yes, they are rumbling around here. But in Central Florida, I definitely think they are trapped. But there is, you know, more than enough room. If you drive down 75, which, you know, I lived out in my car across Florida, I got to see some of the darkest, dirtiest parks. I know that there's land for these creatures. And my whole thing is there's more of them than there is of us. Like, we have skyscrapers and little deep basements. They have miles of existence below our feet. We got to look at Lord of the Rings like it's a documentary. There's inner sun and there's inner energy. Oh, man, it's pretty crazy. There's orcs and ogres and Shrek and the Grinch. It's always been around us, you know. And then Abominable and Missing Link and Son of Bigfoot. There's a bunch of animated movies coming out soon. So it came out recently. Just be ready for some news soon about this Bigfoot because we all know it exists, you know. Whoever watches How to Hunt or Dixie Cryptid or Canada's Cryptid or, you know, Ohio Grassman on YouTube, there's so many of these stories. I've narrated over like 300 encounters anonymously, and I've also narrated over 200 newspaper articles about mound builder excavations because back in the day, they used to just report this in the news. You know, on Giants of Ancient America on his Instagram, he collects giant bone excavation newspaper articles. He has over 900 now from different decades, different states, different countries. You know, of course, they're talking about Stonehenge and Wheeling and Moundsville, the San Francisco Giants and New York Giants. Like, these creatures have already been found. Now, I'm not saying like all giants were Sasquatch, but all giants were Bigfoot. I can tell you that. And the red-haired giants and the trolls. You know, mud fossils, guys. Mountains used to walk. Like, this world is so much bigger than I could ever even explain to you. Mud Fossil University, the guy Roger, he'll find dragons over in the desert that go for like 50 miles, and he can point to you where it got slayed, and the whole dirt from there is blood red. It's amazing. Like, the Bible is a real story. Every movie ever made taps into some kind of reality. Things are weird, guys.
Well, things are weird. I'm not sure they're that weird, but hey, man, if that's the, you know, if that's how deep the rabbit hole goes, then so be it. You know, I hear you, man.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this then? Again, with Florida and Bigfoot and, you know, sort of the common sort of thinking about Bigfoot in the Bigfoot world is that, I mean, do you think that maybe there are better places to look for them and try and get, let's say, observations? Like, do you think that's important to try and get actual observations? And wouldn't there be better parts of the country maybe to look for them?
Definitely. Just like you said, Florida is so dense. It's pretty much a joke to try to film them. You know, you can get them by accident, but you're not going to get patty-like footage because there's no 70-yard gaps or 50-yard gaps with no foliage. This is a swamp. There is vines. There is giant weeds coming out of the ground. Yeah, it's not the best place to get footage. It's definitely one of the best places to get an experience and creeped out by the woods. But I would recommend, you know, going up to Ohio or even New York and the Pacific Northwest, where you can get gaps and see these creatures for a long amount of time. And, you know, like Central Florida Bigfoot, Matt, he has incredible gear. Something like that, you're going to capture it. It's going to be 4K, A1, exactly what we're looking for, you know. But these creatures also have hollow hair and translucent abilities, you know, with their hair, and they can vibrate them. So, of course, they're a walking blur. The ones who can master the cloak can master the cloak. But the best place to definitely check would be Pacific Northwest or up in Ohio down near, you know, Wheeling, West Virginia, right on the West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Ohio tri-state corner. That has a convergence of ley lines as well, and tons of mounds. The Serpent Mound, I know you guys have all heard about that. It goes for hundreds of feet, and then it also has certain types of metals that, under the right, you know, circumstances, it will actually glow. So these creatures and these type of people, our ancestors, had an exorbitant amount of energy and knowledge and just willpower. You know, they can't even recreate the pyramids. I think they really shaped the pyramids with their heads, because if so many people can mind matter, if they can just manipulate the protons and the neutrons, they can just move things with their mind. And I think, you know, Sasquatches have that ability too. And that, of course, this all gets super sci-fi, but it's super natural. All this can happen under the right circumstances of protons and electrons. And that's all we are, is neutrons and Jimmy Neutron, guys. We all are clairvoyant.
Roger that. What's up, man? You got, do you have audio, Barry? Keith? No, you don't have audio.
Dang.
But that was the problem you were having earlier on your own show? Then I suggest this. You're on a computer, I'm guessing. Just back out of the studio and then restart your computer. Oh, wait, he's trying to tell me right now. Laptop, yeah. I would... Yeah, back out, restart your computer, and then try and come back in. Yeah, there he goes. Okay. Later, Tater. Hopefully he'll make it in.
Pat, did you hear me that I mentioned the giant bone earlier? I have it with me right now. I don't know if you've heard much about it, but it's the first metacarpal thumb bone of a giant. And my team member Ronnie found it in Marianna, Florida.
Yeah.
Found it in Marianna, Florida. And he found it in a creek. And he also said, oh, sorry about my fingernails, guys. But yeah, he found it in a creek here in Marianna, Florida. And he said the collarbone is also still in the creek in a rock. And Coast to Coast messaged us about this. And we were actually supposed to send it over to Josh Gates to get it tested. But that has got postponed a little bit. Okay. I'm not familiar. I'm going to bring it in the light a little bit more so we can see a little better. So who's Josh Gates? Josh Gates is part of Expedition Unknown on the Discovery Channel, and he has actually submitted Sasquatch DNA in the past. But he wanted to test this, and we were going to go out and look for the clavicle, and then we told him about the story of the Ocheesee Pond Wildman. Sorry, the lighting's pretty bad. There's no good way to show this. I mean, yeah, we could see it. But yeah, I can compare it to my thumb, and that's that small bone right here. And I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 6'2", and that thing, the creature who this bone had to come from, had to be 7 to 12 feet tall. And a lot of people thought it might be a short-faced bear or a giant sloth because they have roamed around in Florida.
Right.
But
Let me get you out
there have
of
been many skeletons found of these mound builders. But we're going to bring this to the Central Florida, or not Central Florida. We're going to bring this to the Florida Bigfoot Conference, hopefully, and let some people look at it, So that'll be very, very interesting. And hopefully I'm going to be able to snorkel and dive into the water here soon to see where this clavicle is. But there's been so much flooding since it's been found that I'm a little nervous, but I still remain optimistic.
Cool. Let me just see if Barry's here. You here, bud? You talking? I can't hear you, man.
Pat, I can go here soon. My neighbor's coming over. I could definitely bounce back. You can email me and we could do a sit down, or I can come to another panel, just so you and Barry could talk as well.
Well, I don't have Barry. Is the problem? Is he there? You might need to edit your mic settings, bro. And and you're kind of frozen like a popsicle. So that bone, I would say this, dude. Has it been shown to an anthropologist or a primatologist?
I don't think an anthropologist or primatologist, but he has showed it to a couple of his Army medic buddies, and I know that's not the most professional, but he's a tracker, a lifetime forest man. So he's not running straight to the college, but hopefully the Josh Gates thing pans out. But I would love to talk to an anthropologist or somebody like that, even just a local historian, and let them see it. And that's what we're trying to get at. We're not hiding these things away. We're trying to let people know, because it's just a little thumb bone. I've narrated, 200 articles about them finding giant skulls and huge bones and covered in copper and gold and sitting towards the east and worshiping the sun. So, a little thumb is very cool, but it's nothing. The Smithsonian has erased so much. The Humboldt Museum used to display giant skulls. It's crazy. The Susquehanna Valley had skulls with horns in them. That's where it gets real crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this goat man, or is it inbred Sasquatch, or can people have horns? And I've seen people with tails, I've seen people with horns. Anything's really possible when you're messing with the probability of billions. Like, come on.
Yeah, I would definitely say let a anthropologist and or primatologist look at that. There are other professionals too. I'm not sure. Like, those are the first two that come to mind, and I hate having to memorize scientific nomenclature.
Definitely. We've showed it to a lot of Sasquatch enthusiasts, and they love it.
Yeah, but I would say that's really good starting point for if you guys are transparent and really wanting to dive deep into the professionals. Like, that's something they'd be interested in, or maybe even Meldrum. Meldrum would be a good sort of like proxy to that like direction.
For sure. That's what we were trying to do with the Discovery Channel. They actually reached out to us after reading the article on Coast to Coast, and it actually started to some lady commented on my TikTok from the UK about the giant bone, and it was like 7 months after we posted the video, and then the buzz came out, and there was a bunch of articles written about it, and then the Discovery Channel reached out to us, and hopefully Josh Gates can be testing it soon, just because I like the way he works, but I would definitely be open to talking to Meldrum, and we'll see at the Florida Bigfoot Conference who wants to see it, and what they have to say about it. I'm very excited, and I have a bunch of pictures too. And one of his friends, Ronnie's friends in Rocky Creek, they found a wad of hair. So here in Florida, there's tons of discoveries being made. People are being over in the Ocheesee Pond. A person was kidnapped and got away from one. It's crazy stuff. Florida's wild. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and it is in more ways than one.
For sure.
Yeah. I don't go to Florida very often, but yeah, I hear you that. Barry, you got sound, brother? I don't know. Do you have sound? Nope. Dang. Yeah, you got and that's weird that happened. Like, Barry tried to do his own podcast earlier tonight, and this happened to him. So Man, you got some mic issues, some mic setting issues or something. Something. Or
very strange.
yeah, something, man.
I also got a picture of a headless boar that my mom and my sister and I were going fishing, and we went on this dirt path, didn't see anything suspicious, and went fishing for like an hour, 20 minutes. We come back, and there's this huge boar that is dead and headless, and there wasn't any blood anywhere. And of course, it could have just been a weird, disrespectful hunter wasting the meat, going just for the head trophy, but just also very strange. And it's right by a cheesy landing where Torreya State Park and Garden of Eden all converge. And Stacey Brown filmed that 9-foot creature that was, broken down by Cliff Brackman and said to be, authentic and accurate. So whenever I go to Torreya State Park, I'm, my third eye is elevated and I'm ready for the ancestors to try to teach me something, but most of the time it's just weird vibes and just a good time too. When you're out there hiking and biking and camping and kayaking, when you're not getting burnt like that,
good grief, man.
Yeah, it was really bad. I had my thighs out for like 4 hours, and I'm pretty tall, so I don't know. I got burnt, but that's all it's about. And I felt a lot better when we were in a cave meditating with the fairies and gremlins. It's magical, man.
You need to put some aloe on that, bro. That's all I can say, man.
I got some aloe here. Aloe, I'm safe with, but sunscreen, I'm like deathly afraid of. It causes cancer. I don't need that.
Yeah, aloes. I mean, obviously, dude, it's right from the plant. It's au natural
for sure.
I recommend everybody go buy an aloe plant. Like, I blew my mind the first time that I ever snapped an aloe plant, like a branch off, whatever you call it. It's not a branch or a leaf. It's like it's sort of cacti almost. It's that crispy kind of,
Yep.
And then all that aloe goo is in there, and I rubbed it on a burn. I was like, oh, that's what it is. Like, it's completely natural.
For sure.
Blew my mind. See, I learned something about the world that I never knew,
Right. And nature will always provide too. That's why I think Sasquatch gets along with the world so well, because they're out there not destructing the planet. So they have everybody on their side. They control the bugs. They control the dogs. They control the birds. They all have messengers. I think they're the kings of the forest. And sometimes they abuse that power, but sometimes they make it a beautiful, majestic place. And that's why, I think the national parks allure us and bring us in, but that is their domain. Those are protected lands, definitely for a reason.
Yeah, and they are protected. You can't just set up camp there for your lifetime. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't even film a drone without getting the right permit.
Yeah. Oh God, don't get me started on that. That's all bullshit.
Pat, could I talk about this wild movie that just came out that I'm in?
Yeah, sure, man. I'm gonna go ahead. You do your start talking about it. I'm right here. I just need to step away for like 5 feet for 2 seconds. So Go for it.
Sounds good. Hey guys, check out this movie Zillafoot. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it's half Bigfoot, half Godzilla. And he gets summoned by these alien creatures, and he starts wreaking havoc across the world. And there's like 15 creatures in it, and there's going to be a sequel. And I play a cryptid research officer, and if it sells 200 copies online through its website, it will be in widespread release. And honestly, I don't care if you guys buy it or not. I'll post the link once it's free on one of my streaming websites. But I think it's really funny to check out, and my scenes are really fun, and I'm really proud of it. And Jack McClellan, my buddy from Florida State, he was one of the directors for this, and he also made a documentary called Bridges, a Bigfoot story. And it's about the Bridges family who got interviewed on Finding Bigfoot. And she was a lady. You guys might remember the episode where they had that oily smear on the front glass window. Well, that's her house. And that's right by my house. And my buddy Jack has went over there, and now she could summon these creatures. And she's had encounters with Dogman and like weird Leatherface creatures. It's very, very strange. And over there's definitely some caves, and it goes down to the aquifer, and it's just weird how much different this part of the country is than just the Pacific Northwest, but they all hold different crevices for these monsters, for these boogers, the Mogollon monster in the Grand Canyon. I love it. Like, there's so many crevices down there. When we were exploring, I was like, dude, no wonder a whole civilization went under the rocks. Like, you could just disappear out here. And there's so many places, even in America, that could do that. But the world, oh my gosh, there's so much for them to hide in, and they don't want to be found by us because we are a virus, so we need to stay far away from them.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have my own theories about that, it's like you said, we are a virus, so they want to stay away from us. I think there's something to that. Like, that's not the way I would put it, but I have a feeling that they understand that we're the most dangerous thing on the planet, and to not be fucked with is basically the way I see it. It explains a lot, so to me, it's a good explanation.
And like I always say, there's good and bad, and there's so many great connections. Like the 50 years with Bigfoot story, with the Janice Carter farm, how the grandfather found little Fox when he got smashed by a tree, and then he raised Fox, and they taught each other both about Native American history, and then the Sasquatch, knowing things that the little kid knew. And it's a beautiful thing, because then Fox ended up having a family, and they got to learn about the dynamic. But sadly, one of their sons, Blackie, ended up kidnapping a girl, and she ended up in an institution. She was real messed up after the encounter. And all that's documented, and they have literal pages of Sasquatch language and what it transcribes into. It's very cool. It's a simple Google search away if anybody wants to see it, just 50 years with Bigfoot, the Carter farm story. And it will literally show the notebook with the Sasquatch words in it. It's beautiful. And that's why,
in 50 years, they can't snap one good picture. Come on.
There's a couple pictures that they had. One was the wife of Fox, and she was holding a pink blanket. And it's clear as day, but of course it's not the greatest photo ever. I post a lot of good photos on my Instagram from Squatch Me Now and NVTV. There's a lot of ancient ones and Native American reservation photos that have been, low on, the circuits, but they're out there, and it's very interesting. I'll have to email you a couple of them. I don't know if you are on Instagram that much. I know a lot of Bigfoot YouTubers are just on YouTube, and that's sweet, but Instagram is going just as hard, guys. Bigfoot is real on Instagram. Yes.
Yeah, it's I am on Instagram. And you know what? I should put Squatch Talk. I should create a Squatch Talk Instagram page. I don't have a Squatch Talk presence there, but I'm there personally. And then my other business, my drone stuff is on there too. So, but awesome. not Bigfoot. But recently, dude, I had this is being streamed on Twitch right now too. So. That's nothing that Bigfooters do. They don't stream on Twitch, and I don't know if it'll pay off for me or not, but it's
already paying off. It's already paying off. It's already on Twitch. I remember hearing that you were streaming your shows on Twitch, and I was like, dude, that's so cool. I'm all about just getting it out there. And this conversation and your other conversations will be heard. As long as we have power in 5 years, this will be on circuit. People will be, new people will be stepping into the Bigfoot world talking about our old news. And hopefully we have a couple more DNA samples and sightings and cool stories by then, But yeah, that's awesome. You're putting it on Twitch, and that's super cool, man. And TikTok is exploding with Bigfoot right now. Yeah, guys, it's good to be on the Bigfoot train right now. We're all going to be saying, I told you so. But I've been telling people I told you so for a few years, and it's not fun. It's more like, oh, I told you so. We're all suffering.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I know what you're saying. But yeah, I just figured, because I like Twitch, dude. I'm a Twitch guy, dude. I follow Chaco and Shroud and people like that, and and other like smaller streamers that I really like.
Heck
And I'm
yeah.
like, well, hell, why not, point my show onto Twitch, a platform I love. That's kind of why I did it,
And you're building a Sasquatch foundation. I like that, man. That's sweet.
Yeah. Wait till you see what I do next. I'm doing something even bigger. It's outside the Sasquatch world. You'll love it.
Heck yeah, I'm all about,
You'll love it,
expanding
dude.
it. I'm a UFO guy. I'm Sasquatch. I'm a history guy. I love sports and the curses behind that. I love movies, video games. I work at a comic book store, so I'm all about the weird fantasy, the other side of things. Like, there is always some kind of cool story, even sports. Like, people like, I don't like sports. Like, guys, the New York Giants, the Tennessee Titans, the Lake Erie Monsters, like, they're named after magical creatures.
Yeah. Well, you'll dig it, dude. It's a people thing. It's kind of like this. It's like what we're doing right now, except times like 1,000, literally times 1,000. It's gonna be nuts, dude. Yeah. I'll let you know. Like, we'll see. There's a couple of things I got to button down before I even launch it, honestly. But once I get past that, man, it's game on. I'll let everybody here know. Like, everybody in Squatch Talk will know. I'll point towards that channel. It'll be cool as fuck, man.
Heck yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So are you a gamer? I'm just curious.
Yeah. I have an Xbox and I have a Nintendo 64. So I love playing Warzone, but I love Halo as well. And then we, of course, get down with Mario Kart and NFL Blitz pretty often.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm a gamer as well. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, man.
Have you ever heard of Zach Dubs? He's big on Twitch and TikTok. He's a Warzone comedian. Yeah. I'm good friends with him. I grew up with him. Zach Wright, man. He's awesome.
Oh,
He's
really?
actually mentioned in my books, and we've broken into haunted houses together before. So it's awesome seeing him shine. He has like 900K on TikTok now. I'm like, bro, tell him Sasquatch is real. And hopefully one day I invite him down to Florida. So I'd love to take him to the caverns here and spook him a little bit.
Yeah, and he's he's got like, I saw his feed the other day on Twitch, dude. He had like 30,000 people watching him or something.
Wow.
Maybe more. It may have been more than that. Yeah. I'm like, he's making money.
I'm proud of him. Yeah, he quit his job long ago. Every subscription on Twitch, you get a decent amount of money.
Yeah, and people donate. Like, donate like crazy if you're famous on Twitch. I did have a question for you, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bam. There it is from Jimmy.
What do you think the species of Sasquatch are? I think they are human hybrid because there's been stories of them mating with normal humans. Of course, the ape lady of Russia, Zana, they sadly kidnapped her and broke her will, and then they mated with her. Not the right way. And the first two babies, she actually dipped them in a freezing river because that's what they must do to get all the gunk off of them. And those first two babies actually died because they probably had a little bit too much human in them. The third one, they took it from her. He actually grew up, and they have pictures of him, and then they ended up finding a skull. He looks a little bit different, but there is definitely a human side to it. And of course, the Ketchum DNA study, a lot of people think it's garbage, but I think it stands for something. Not all the DNA samples could be contaminated. I know a lot of them came back, human and then unknown father. A lot of it happens, and some of it might not line up, but there have been so many stories of them speaking words and having man-like faces, and the Native Americans living with them. The people of the Hoopa tribe used to live with the Sasquatch, and they have pictures with them and drawings. That's what I mean by pictures, like ancient drawings with them. And it's just remarkable. But then you look at the Mayaka skunk ape, and that thing has sharp teeth. So maybe there is ape-like creatures in the Kentucky monkey man and the Vietnam rock apes. There's something to it. So there's more than just Bigfoot, and there's dog man and werewolves and lycanthrope. So, there's hybrids out there, and there's definitely some weird science going on, but naturally things would evolve that way too. So human hybrids, but also, maybe descendant of Gigantopithecus, Neanderthal, hobbit type creatures. I'm sorry just to be so broad with it, but there's so many different type of creatures that resemble Bigfoot and Sasquatch. And, Patty is different than the Mayaca skunk ape, and the Vietnam rock apes is different than the two-egg stump jumper. And the Ohio grassman is a little bit different than the Texas wood boogers, but they all have a little bit of man in them. I don't want to say all of them have man in them, but many of the Bigfoot have man-like in them. So it's some kind of human hybrid, maybe angels, maybe watchers, maybe Nephilim, maybe Edomites, David versus Goliath's tribe. Maybe it's the original Adam, tribe of Adam. I'm big on the Garden of Eden. That's what I wrote my first book on, Erie swamps, Lake Erie, down to the Florida swamps, and then it ends in Eden. And over here, 15 miles from here, 27 of the 28 trees in the Bible live right there. Gopher wood, which Noah used to build the ark, that's known as Torreya. The only place that type of Torreya grows, right here, the only place in the whole wide world. It's the lightest and strongest wood in the world. Who knows if it's the actual Eden and where the delta breaks into four rivers? It does break into four rivers there, but I think it's an adaptation, and America has so much more of a history than we know. There was kings and queens in America. Like I said, the mound builders used to be buried in gold and crowns, and these are written about in newspapers. And if you can't read that well, go to soundcloud.com/Bigfoot Anonymous 1, 2, and 3. I've literally 9 hours of me reading newspaper articles. That's how Bigfoot Anonymous started. I was just so sick of people saying there's no proof, so I was like, guys, there's newspaper articles, and I know they don't like reading, so I just put it on SoundCloud so you can just listen to it. And then I'd play it at work, just like a radio. So I'd let people know and warn the hunters, because down here in Florida, it's hunting season all year round for deer, for hogs. They're killing snakes. People are out in the woods all the time with guns. So they need to wake up and know what else is out there. And if they think they're John Rambo, wake the heck up. These creatures have taken out military that are so much more trained than the top hunters. So, even good hunters have been taken without even getting a shot off. So be respectful. Do not shoot these creatures, because you're not gonna win that fight. It's not gonna end well. Even if you kill that creature, what's very rare. Cain was immortal. Cain was covered in hair and casted away as the marked one. In the Mormon religion, Joseph Smith, he found Cain in the 1800s. Cain was as tall as Joseph on the horse, and he was covered in hair. So if Cain lived all the way to the 1800s, he's still living today, of course, and he's still procreating and existing. And dude, do not shoot the descendants of Cain. It will not be good. Just stay away.
Right. Are you a religious guy?
Not very. I was raised Catholic, and growing up, you think that's the only religion. Well, at least how I lived. And now I live in the South, where Baptist is the only religion that they want to talk about. I love finding the truths in the Bible. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. I'm big on the dome and God and heaven and hell, and also the other side, the spirit. And I laugh at people who say they're agnostic. I've done too many psychedelics and psychotropics and had too many meaningful conversations and looked at too many beautiful things, like our thumbprint, the solar system, our brain, seashells, pine cones. It all resembles some kind of creator, and we're not just soup. We actually matter, and that's the first thing to it. Truth, gets us to the creator. And people go to church and they flock street side shrines, and then they bash same-sex marriage, and they don't understand it, and they hide behind the Bible, but then they don't believe in heaven, or they praise some 666 NASA stuff. And it's all started by Nazis. It's very crazy stuff. And I just try to grab truth from all religions and all ancient backgrounds and just try to connect it, So I try to find the conundrums and contradictions in religion, but I also try to learn from the deepest truths to it too, because giants existed in them all, ghosts, the jinn. There's some truths in this. So I love looking into it. And, the flood came down. They tried building the Tower of Babel to go to heaven. And this is just one adaptation of it. This is told by all the people. They tried building a tower to reach the skies, to go to heaven, to leave this place. Jack and the Beanstalk, we all know it. And God flooded the earth and turned them to stone. and that's where the mountains are. And if giants were like 3 miles tall, then this earth is a lot bigger than they say. And I'm not really into the curvature and any of that. It's sea level. I'm big on the thing they say. I prove it with the God, because the whole thing with the church used to be like heaven is up, hell is down. And then science came in and they said, no, it's a sphere. But then the sphere is actually meant to hide something, because the Garden of Eden is hiding something into Middle Earth. And that's where, all the ancient societies like Mayans and Incans and even ancient tribes of the Mormon and ancient tribes of African, they all disappeared. Where did they go? I have a clue. I could tell you where heaven is. On the space shuttle map, where is heaven? Point to heaven there. Do you go through Uranus and then come through Pluto and then you're in heaven? No. Come on, guys. Heaven is up, hell is down, and there is chambers of huge pillars for miles and earth's down. The Vikings were onto something. They said there was 9 levels of heaven, 9 levels of hell. It's very interesting. And
no, I know, dude. I know you have a very broad view of the world, literally, right?
Yeah.
And I know that about you, dude. And I didn't want to make this a debate night. I didn't.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying, dude? I think actually, dude, it's been an interesting conversation with you, and I love of some of the things you said. Like, actually, really touched me. So, I think if anything, dude, like you understand, dude, that when you start talking about big world ideas, sometimes you even say, I'm sorry if it sounds like science fiction. So know that other people aren't, they're not just going to go there with you.
For sure. I've been like this for years, and I know a lot of people don't go there with me, Right. I lost a lot of friends over this. That's why people think like they're harassing me with something new.
You shouldn't.
Exactly. Because I'm fighting for the soul. I'm fighting for people, and I'm fighting for them. And they think I'm crazy. And no, if you actually listen to it, I'm not saying there's like a pancake flying through space. I'm just saying the Bible is actually right. If you actually Google Earth, the Bible describes, it literally shows the model that I live by, and a lot of people believe in heaven, and NASA is not it, man. Werner von Braun, he was the Nazi scientist that came and ran NASA. He has the dome on his gravestone, like the United Nations logo, the Disney logo, how it flies over. Walt Disney was on these military missions, Operation Deep Freeze, Operation Fishbowl. They found the dome. They found the ice wall. And I know it's far out. A lot of people cannot even fancy it, but I've literally interviewed surveyors on my channel that say it's flat. Sea level, I deep sea fish 21 miles out. I catch a lot of flack for, just asking people to research more. I literally have a book here about it made its famous thing on the Mogollon Monster, 100 proofs. Like, everybody use your glossary and look up what a scientific proof is. It's scientific proof. Like, it's been proven. There's 100 of them right there. None of the NASA stuff has been proven. I could literally pull up a video right now of them dropping a ball on the ISS. Like, how are they floating? But they dropped the ball, because it was filmed in Hollywood, because Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landing. And it gets wild, but I might have to tell people I told you so when we're up in heaven. But I just want people to get to heaven. I want people to know heaven's actually a place. And even if they don't believe me now, or I'm not trying to convince anybody, I'm just trying to let the people know that have heard this kind of stuff, that it's okay to feel this way. You have me on your side. I'll be the loudmouth guy who will take the fall, but you can believe in silence, or you can research in silence. That is fine. I'm just trying to open the door, and that's why I appreciate this, that you have gave me a fair chance just to be myself. And, of course, we had to get into Bigfoot and a little bit of the extra continents, but that's who I am. And I appreciate you allowing me to be me. And, over the past few weeks, I think people have seen that I'm just an energetic kid trying to fight for the last people of humanity. Right now, some dark times. A lot of people were calling me a drug addict 3 weeks ago. Well, if you guys know my story, my family have had really bad drug problems, and I had to move from Ohio to get away from that. So a lot of that, of course, people would be like, oh, you do psychedelics. I would never take offense if you say, oh, he took too much mushrooms. But once you start saying that I'm, smoking the crack pipe, who's wrong? You know,
Yeah, that's a different
I never
drug,
have.
dude.
So if they say that, then how low are you? You know, because I stated some facts about the Bible. You know, sorry,
No.
it's crazy, and a lot of
that's not a crack. Yeah, it's not a crack thing, dude. And crack and mushrooms are two totally different fucking
two
things, man.
total opposites. I don't even drink energy drinks, or I drink hot cocoa. You know, I'm always like this. Ask Hidden Relief Tristan, ask Gypsy Road Eric, ask Ninja Ronnie. They know, they've seen me in person. They've seen me, 4 miles into a hike, still like, oh, let's get it. So I'm just energetic on this because it's a whole life battle. You know, I've been a writer my whole life, and I got kicked off the school newspaper for approving a good article about alcohol was mentioned. They tried saying I was promoting underage drinking and tried to expel me. So ever since the beginning, I've had a chip on my shoulder. So I'm just trying to get my words out there, and I do it through interviews. I put it in the books. I'm also out there in the field trying to spread the word, and in real life too. I went into Infinity Con. I was vulnerable, guys. I was out there preaching Bigfoot. You know how many people looked at me sideways, but you know how many people learned about Bigfoot after that? Hundreds, thousands. And that's how we all have to speak. That's why I speak with conviction, because that's how the preachers speak. That's how the teachers speak. That's how leaders speak. And if we all, just talk up a little bit, then it will go a little farther, So I'm all about taking no prisoners and just being you full blast, and I get laughed at every day at the retro store, but they think about it. And I hope some doctors have went right when that voice was calling left and they avoided the skinwalker. But
dude, I hear you. I mean, you're a thought-provoking guy, more than the average person, that's for sure. And you seem relatively harmless, I'll say. So for anybody who wants to talk shit, and you don't, you seem I say harmless, like you don't have some kind of evil agenda going on,
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm fighting for God. Like, oh my God, I'm trying to fight the evil agenda, and good people are being blinded, in my eyes. And I'm just trying to bring them back. Stop wearing masks in your car. It's bad for you. It says it on the box.
Well, just remember, dude, that, to be, Pat, just, use that passion, use that dial. You just use the dial on the passion, dude, because you do, you seem like a smart guy. You can pick up on cues, so just use your dial meter on your passion, and you shouldn't lose friends, man. This is just worldview. This is your view of the world. This is, but there's nothing wrong with being thought provoking. You're not doing the society bad if you provoke thought. And so yeah, man, that's, thanks for coming on, dude. Like, I'm glad you're here. You've been a part of the channel. You're welcome here. And so at this point, I think I'm going to open it up, man. Let somebody else on. But I do appreciate the discussion, and we'll do it again sometime, man. Public or private, dude. Yeah.
Could I show my book real quick? I just want everybody, if you're somewhat even interested to me rambling on, I'm just full blast, If you want to see it a little bit slower, read at your own pace, not 400 words per minute. Big Brother Bigfoot. It's all about the bridge to our creator. I've researched from Canada all the way to California. I lived out of my car from Ohio to Florida, and then from Florida to California for the summer. And I built a bed in my car. I stayed at marinas, and I lived at state parks, and I stayed at a bunch of people's houses. I met a lot of cool punk rock people and people that bike across America. And I just documenting here. And this is about 16 type creatures that I've investigated, ranging from the Tennessee Titans, Ohio Grassman, Cheesy Pond Wildman, the Texas Wood Boogers, the Big Bear Lake Creature, Clear Lake Creature up in Canada, the Washington Wild things up in Pennsylvania. A lot of cool creatures. And I try to, touch base on things that maybe some people don't know. And it's a book about history. It's a book about you and me. So I appreciate you letting me on, and I'll definitely stay posted whenever you guys have more open chats or panel talks. I'd love to chat with some more of you guys who are in the chat, and I definitely appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, Pat, the Turner Squad. I hope one day me, you, and Tim T can link up, and it will be the Holy Trinity. It's very cool. But yeah, guys, check me out, Bigfoot Anonymous, TikTok, YouTube, and on Instagram. I do daily things. I'll have to message you on Pat, just on there, Pat, just so you can see what I'm doing daily.
Yeah, definitely.
From your view, but you definitely should do a Squatch Talk on Instagram just to have that presence, because you have a platform, man, that people are coming and you're giving honest information, and there's hundreds of thousands of people that would seek it as valuable on Instagram and even Twitter and TikTok too. So definitely keep up the good work, and I appreciate it, brother. So thank you so much, right. And I will see you soon, man. Thank you so much.
All right, later, bro.
Later, y'all.
Jimmy.
What's up, brother?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
Man, I'm making it.
Cool. All right. Well, can you give me 2 seconds?
Yeah. Whatever you need.
Can you talk about yourself for just a few seconds?
All right. Well, my name is Jimmy Blanton. I live in Harlan, Kentucky. I am a researcher, cryptozoologist, amateur. And I just research Bigfoot. I had a sighting almost 2 years ago. First sighting that I had a lot of folks tell me that are researchers, keep going out and look for it. One day you're going to run into one, and I did, and it really surprised me. And I've been researching cryptids. I'm also a paranormal investigator. That's quite a bit about me. Also, I've got a Harlan, Kentucky Crypto Con. Got it coming up this year, so I'm excited to do that and get that done.
Nice, man. So what's been going on? What brings you to Squatch Talk tonight?
I seen the show, dude, and I hadn't got to talk to you in a while, and just wanted to talk Squatch.
Sweet, man. And here we are. What's going on, man? Do we have we found one yet?
No, since I've been back up to the area where I had the first sighting, like I was telling just before, I had researchers, good friends of mine and stuff, told me if I kept going out, eventually I was going to run into one. And I finally had a sighting, and it shook me up a little bit. It was over a hill. I'm a good 30 yards away from me. And at the time, when it stood up, and kind of turned its head sideways, and I didn't get to see the facial features. But it took off running away from me so fast. There's no way it could be in person. No way. And it was hot out that day. Anyone that would want to put a suit on would be out of their mind.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I've had so many questions in between then. I've had other researchers tell me, you've had a sighting. But to me, Pat, I can't say that it was a sighting because I didn't get to see its face. But I did notice some features. It was kind of skinny compared to what other researchers and witnesses have told me over the years. I noticed the legs were a lot smaller. The shoulders were still huge, and it was close to 7.5 foot tall.
Oh, wow.
It was a reddish brown looking color. We get a lot of reports usually of them being black color in the area. At first I thought it was a honey bear, like what we call a cinnamon bear around here. It's a black faded because we have a lot of black bear in the area,
Mhm.
possibly faded color to make it look that way. But when it stood up, I knew it wasn't a bear. And I've just had so many questions still to myself about that day, what it was. But it shook me up a little bit to realize at the end, I was like, holy crap, this is a Bigfoot. What is this thing?
Yeah,
But
man.
I'm,
7.5 feet tall, bro. I mean, if you're pretty sure that that's how tall it was, then
oh yeah,
that
I'm
wasn't a
getting,
person. That wasn't a
being in the woods and stuff, and seeing the animals and stuff around here. I've got pretty close to estimating height, and it was at least 7.5 foot tall.
Well, that definitely wasn't a person, dude. There's not a lot of people in this world that are 7.5 feet tall. I don't know why they'd be in the woods of Kentucky trying to mess with you.
Not in this area, of course. I mean, I've got a cousin who's 6'11", but 7.5 feet tall, man. That's a big dude.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. You could almost name the people in this world that are that tall. Really?
Oh yeah.
What's up, Leon? Leon has joined the open mic night, and Barry, I don't know if we have audio on you, brother.
Barry, what's going on, Barry?
I don't know that he has audio. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he can hear us.
Ooh, your audio is real low, Leon. Yeah.
How about now?
Better.
Now?
Even better.
Is it better now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Hi, Jimmy. Jimmy, how's it going, Jimmy?
Hello, Leon. How you doing?
Well, I trying to take a psychological break from the last person online that was just here. That was a bit of a barrage, that's for sure. But I'm doing all right. Working a little too much, but you want to try him again, Pat?
Yeah, Barry, what's up, bro? You talk. No audio. Man, that sucks, man.
Does suck.
Yeah.
His mic's not turned off, is it?
Yeah, there's something going on. Because like I said earlier, I saw where he had posted he was having this same problem on his own show. So he had to sort of abort the show. So whatever that problem was, it's still happening. You know, don't know what it is, bro. But hey, you're more than happy to keep your pretty little face planted right there on my podcast.
You could do like Matt does from Central Florida, just put up sticky notes.
Yeah, there you go.
I love that. That's brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, it is brilliant. Totally.
I like Matt. I tried to get him to come on the other night. It was last minute, and he was just like, I sorry, I didn't see it. I couldn't have done it anyway. Because I do want to have an on-air discussion with Matt, given his professional skill set, But like I was talking about earlier, man, I mean, he's a professional videographer tramping around in Florida. What's the point? I can't even think of an analogy right now. I wish I could, but like, what's the point, man? Like,
yeah, he'll figure it out.
He will.
He's got good stuff too, and his explanations for what to use and what not to use and why to use it is.
No, he does. His knowledge is the point.
Yeah.
I guess at the end of the day, his knowledge is more valuable than him walking through the woods by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's professional.
He's really good on Steve's show there, the way he broke that down and stuff like that, and help people understand what you should be doing with your camera, what settings you should have your camera on. Do it before you try squatching, so you get familiar with your camera. So
yeah.
So about your, I know it's hard for me not to say anything. I know.
It's open mic. Just let me say this before you say anything else. It's open mic, and and my platform is open, right?
Nope.
Oh
Jimmy.
shit, we lost Jimmy. He got snatched by a Sasquatch.
Oh, what's happening? The world's going to. Maybe he fell off the earth.
It's an open platform, and you know, I think you know, Anon, as I call him, he's short from Anonymous. I think he's an interesting dude. You know, and people, and when I do an open mic and I say everybody's welcome as long as you're not an asshole, well, then everybody's welcome as long as you're not an asshole. So you know, it's different from the, you know, the serious, you know, Friday free for all panels, and it's Tuesday night, man. It's different night.
Okay, but so are you allowed to question?
Yes, absolutely.
I see.
Yes,
because the book,
100%.
the book he showed, that's his book.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you remember a couple of, I think it's the third video back I posted about the guy in Kelowna who had a Sasquatch encounter on the east side of Kelowna. And that's the picture the guy used for the saying that he took the picture.
Yeah.
And that picture that is on the front of his book with the measuring tape on it, well, it's not 7 inches across. It's only 4 3/4 inches across, because the tape measures an inch off the outside of the track and an inch off the other side of the track. So it's actually a 10.5 foot. So, and that's also a human track, because I know what a human track looks like when it's slipping in mud, and that's exactly what you got going there. So
sure.
Well, most researchers that research Bigfoot, that's one thing that you have to get into is animal prints and human prints.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to discern. And most of us that's been out in the field that have been researching for so long, we can tell when there's a person, a human has been through there, or a possible Bigfoot.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's the key part. You know, it only makes sense that you would have to educate yourself on something that you're maybe not familiar with. So, let's do that. That's a good idea. And you know, going around with no shoes in the forest is a big thing nowadays. So, lots of people do it. I had a guy contact me the other day, and he said, "I certainly could cause problems for people online because he has a 17-inch foot." So that's without shoes on. And he says, I could be running through the bush and you guys would never know it. Well, actually, you could if you know the difference between what a Sasquatch track is supposed to look like compared to a human track.
exactly.
Yeah, that's true. But I'll say this, like, so yeah, in the hiking community, you know, the barefoot thing it's a thing. But of course, they stick to the trails. Roughly.
No. Nick used to do that all the time, and he's running to mountaintops. So, I mean, he's going, you know,
for the most part. I think for the most part. And that, so, yeah. I mean, I'm sure some people go crazy in areas, but.
Wasn't there a survival show not too long ago where there was one of the survivalists walked around barefooted everywhere he went?
Yeah, that was Alone, I think, is what that one on that series, Alone. Yeah. It was funny watching Nikki, in the chat, and Patrick as well in the chat. Honestly, I just dealt with that before I got online. That's where I was at for 2 hours. But there's so much to say about that. But you know,
there is, and it can be said. I just don't want to turn like I could have challenged him on 1,000 things, but like. 6 or 7 things he said actually really spoke to me on a different level, you know, and I just didn't want to turn it into a debate night, you know, like
but if somebody's not talking the truth, like he's quoting, is talking about scripture and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know Greek or Hebrew. I'm pretty sure he doesn't know the culture of the day. Pretty sure he doesn't understand what the Nephilim comes in regards to scripture. So to spout it as if it's factual, as you said, you say it with certainty. That's the way preachers say it. You say it with certainty. That's the way politicians say it.
Right.
Well, it doesn't mean that anything you're saying is factual. It just means it sounds like it's factual.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So there's a different angle. There's a different place I'm at with that than like this, you know.
Yeah, I know. Well, look what happened last time. I just mentioned the word timestamp, and I'm the devil. I didn't want to tell you that, but I actually, yes, that's actually what I really am. I'm out to hurt everybody and to cause problems. I don't know. I thought it was a good educational opportunity. I don't know. Let's point those things out to each other so we can up the game a bit. So,
Sure.
anyways.
I get it. I mean, I'm all about upping the game, but
All right. Okay, I get you. You don't want to talk about this. Fine. Jimmy, where are you located?
Harlan, Kentucky.
And how long have you been involved in the whole scene here?
In Bigfoot research, I'm going to say probably close to 8 years now. But I'm also a paranormal investigator.
Right.
Probably about 15, 16, 17 years, somewhere through there.
And your sighting you had, is that what got you into Bigfoot? Or is that when you had it after you started looking for a Bigfoot?
Actually, I had a friend who lives down the road from me who was a research, Thomas Markham. I'd been talking to him online, got to know him pretty good, and he'd been researching Bigfoot probably close to 30-something years. And he kind of just, the sightings that he had and he was getting reports just kind of drew me into it. I always had curiosity of what Sasquatch could be. And I just had more and more questions. And then about a year and a half ago is when I had my actual first sighting.
Oh, I was going to say Pat's mic is muted.
no.
Did it affect you psychologically in regards to your sleep pattern, your emotions, or anything like that?
I did have trouble sleeping, honestly. It was just the thought of what could that have been, because I'd had so many of my fellow researchers tell me, man, you've had a Bigfoot sighting. But if I could have got to see the face, that would have been the stamp on it right there. Then I would have known, hey, this is most definitely Bigfoot. But like Pat said earlier, how many people do you know that's 7.5 foot tall that's going to run around in the woods in southeastern Kentucky in a Bigfoot costume? We have so many hunters. You are taking a big chance on doing something like that.
Yeah, I finished watching a video. I can't remember who posted it, but it's this guy running through the bush in a Bigfoot costume, and the guy who he's trying to scare in the truck gets out of the truck, and the guy says to him, "It's a good way to get a bullet in you, buddy." Recognize it as a suit, eh? Like, it's like one day some guy's gonna get shot probably because he's pulling a prank, and somebody's
already been ran over.
Oh, I heard about that one.
Yeah, that happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So they were trying to do the Bigfoot costume, jump out in front, scare the car, and yeah, in the car, yeah. I think the car hit them, and they went to the ground. It was the car behind them ran over them, and that's what killed them.
Oh man!
So dumbass. I mean, you didn't deserve to die, but God, this is stupid. It's just don't do crap like that,
Yeah, use your brain. I mean, for crying out loud, because there's hunters all over the U.S. And when they see something like that, you're taking on a chance of them, that little light going off and them seeing money signs. Because we've got these so-called research groups out there that are offering millions of dollars for a Bigfoot body. And that would be a fast way to make cash. And you're taking on a chance on getting killed. Don't be stupid. Don't get out in the woods with these costumes on, trying to make yourself look like Bigfoot, because you will come across one hunter that will put a bullet in you. And use your brains, folks.
Or you scare somebody.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can cause someone to have a heart attack. I mean,
yeah, how about don't scare people who have guns in their hands? That's a good starting point.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Does ask legit question? I don't know. No, it's not. Like what?
Leon, what got you started into Bigfoot?
He's been on here 50 times.
I needed something to get me out of my head because I deal in people's brains all day long. And I was sitting in my office thinking, I need something to get me out of my head. And God kind of says, well, why don't you look for a Sasquatch? And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And so I thought I won't just look for a Sasquatch. I'll do study and research because my area is systems theory. So I study systems. And then I figured it'd be a good way to assist a system like the Bigfoot community to maybe show them what they're missing. And so I came in investigating what happens to somebody who comes into the Bigfoot community, and also study the Bigfoot community as a system to see what they're not seeing. So it helps that I seen a Sasquatch when I was younger, but that wasn't the primary part of it. I just want to see it again with the brain I have today in my head. So like you said, so when I see the face, I'll be able to see it with a kind of an academic educated capacity. Unlike the first time you see it in the face and you don't have any context, either you're wearing your Depends or you're not wearing your Depends.
Exactly.
You know, so, and I might still need my Depends after I see it, depending on what the look is as it stares back at me, right? So it may look at me to the back, through my eyes to the back of my skull. And then I think my muscle skills. Hey, Steve from Curious Cryptid. I don't know. That's what I want. All I want to do is see what it looks like. As soon as I see its eyes, I'll see if it has conscious availability. That's what it'll give me. And also what kind of intent it has capacity for. Because I'm kind of curious to see what kind of mind they have. So behavior can tell you that as well. So I try to listen to a lot of testimonies of people who've experienced it to see if there's interesting data within their story that tells them there's something a little higher than primates or higher than an animal. So do they operate instinctually out of the instinctual part of the brain, or in the primal part of the brain, or they have a bit more of their frontal cortex developed where they have conceptual capacity for reasoning and thinking and to problem solve with consciousness, not just like crows. Crows have conscious availability, which is they can recognize themselves as not, when they see themselves, they know they're looking at themselves. Dolphins can do that and elephants can. But the next level is when they problem solving, and the crow can do six things to solve a problem to get food. I want to see how they analyze things. So a cougar tracks you down. Cougar's going to figure out which way you're going. It's going to see if it can intercept you. That's still primal thinking. Right. But, if you mix up the formula of the stalking, like Patrick, who's online here, where he's a conscious human being, primate, walking through the forest, strategizing about how to get rid of this thing, instead of instinctually reaction to try to get away from something. Will the opponent, say Sasquatch, have the capacity to outwit his wittiness when he's in high duress and stress? It wouldn't be easy either way. I've been tracked by a grizzly and cougar with intent to kill me. So when you're dealing with a primal part of the brain with a body that's used to being in the forest, not a 57-year-old fat guy like me that smokes cigarettes now. Mind you, I was younger when these events happened, but they're a lot more smoother and more capable of negotiating slash piles, obstacles in the forest than we are, for sure, because we're not used to walking on that type of ground, right? Mostly flat ground all the time. So put yourself on a mountain, try to breeze across the mountain, even if you're going half, mountains like this and you're just going, oops. The mountain's like, which way am I trying to do this? This, and you're trying to go across this way, which is the easiest way, but you got slash, trees falling over, all sorts of rocks and stuff. They're going to just walk right across that like gazelles, whereas I'm going to be climbing and, slide and all sorts of stuff. So,
well, yeah, that seems to be the case with their movement.
What's that?
That they're very graceful out there.
Well, and it would be, because I remember working when we used to work, when I worked on the coast in forestry, we called it, you had to get your coastal legs. It's like, I mentioned this before. It's like, if you go sailing, you get your what's it called? Your sea legs.
Sea legs.
Yeah. And then when you get off the boat, you realize after you've been on the boat for a week, say all of a sudden you're still doing your sea legs, but you're on land and you can notice the difference. And so when you work in forestry in that kind of environment, you learn how to walk on all those things, those logs and stuff like that. Like, again, when Nick wants to go in the bush with me and stuff, he's climbing over stuff like a gazelle. I'm like, this fat old body's going to fall over this log and down that ravine. And he's like walking, da, 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 da. Hey, Leo, come on, man, let's go over this way. I'm looking like, I'm going to die. So, I have to be fair about that. I certainly don't have the capacities I used to have when I was younger. That's for sure. So, and that's why I also really believe in the next generation coming up, because They just don't buy a lot of the garbage that we got sucked into. They want more meat, potatoes on the bone. They want to understand why it's a Sasquatch. So if you have a channel, you need to describe why you believe it's a Sasquatch from the inside out. So you actually educate people who are actually watching. And I think that'd be a lot more helpful for most of us online. So there's a big chunk of people who seem to have a problem with wanting to know that information, or at least if you point it out to them. But I'm not interested. That's not the audience, as CC would say, and I would agree with him. It's really not the audience I'm looking for.
Right.
You know, I've been online for 5 years. Got, I don't know, 1,300 people maybe viewing me, but I'm not here to be the popular guy. I'm looking for the right people. And think of it, if you're a teacher.
Exactly.
It's great to have a classroom full of 1,300 students wanting to learn stuff. And if you provide really good stuff, there's some really, I bumped into a really good channel the other day. I posted it, Pat, on your page, I think. I've never seen them before, but very systematic in what they're doing about tracks, 3D printing. Matt's done this too. Steve's talking about creating a 3D printer that you put over the track, and it actually prints the track out for you. So you don't actually disturb the track at all. You know, it's pretty brilliant.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
And that's kind of what we're looking for, not the narration stuff. We've heard the narration for 10 years. It's like there's just nothing there after a while. It's just the same thing. And I think that's where people fall into it being like a faith belief instead of a knowing. And there's a big difference between somebody who believes they've seen a Sasquatch compared to someone who actually has experienced a Sasquatch. Those are two different psychological positionings a person's going to share with you, depending on which of the two they're experiencing. So one's a belief system about what I think I saw, kind of like what you wrestle with a bit there, Jimmy, about if I could have just saw the face, that would have been solid for me. But at least you're fair enough to say, I didn't see the face, that would be solid. That's good information for the viewer at home to hear that narration come out of your mouth, because it tells us that you're trying to be honorably fair. You can be sincere, but you can definitely be sincerely wrong. And I have hundreds of times. So I got to watch out for my feeling of certainty that I have, because I want to find a Sasquatch, you know? And then I'm going to say this is a Sasquatch, and then I have to come online and tell everybody I was wrong. So levity is important when it comes to this whole topic, you know, this over seriousness of certainty that we have when we don't know even what we're looking for and how to find them. But everyone, you know, there's certain people that seem to have a higher opportunity, plus they know what they're looking for, and those are the kind of people you're trying to follow and listen to and see what their experiences are from. So so if that answers your question, that's kind of what I do, why I'm into what I'm doing. So
that's awesome, dude.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about that? Like, as far as your potential sighting, you know, like how all that plays in. I mean, it's a lot to take in, right? But the two things you got going for you, man, are like the height that you're fairly like convinced about, and the speed. So
they're just the way that this, and I'm going to call it a thing, because to me, it's just, if I just seen that face, that would have been the kicker for me. Then I would have come out and just tell everyone, hey, I've had a Bigfoot sighting. I've had other researchers tell me, man, you had the classic Bigfoot sighting, but I can't say that I had that. That's what it was, that it was a Bigfoot, because I didn't get to see the face. And I would have been more confident in what I was looking at if I could have seen the facial structure.
So were you looking at it like when you were viewing it, you're standing here, how are you viewing it when you're looking at it?
I was actually up on a hill, and it was down the hill probably 20 yards away from me, and it was flat there where it was at. And at first it was crouched down, and I just, the first thing come to my mind, well, that's a cinnamon bear, just a light-colored black bear that we have in our area. We have over abundance of a population of black bear everywhere in the county where I live at. They introduced them to this area 10 to 15 years ago, and it's boomed. It's gotten so bad now to where they're having hunting seasons just to clear out some of the population because they're getting out of hand. But that's what I thought it was at first, until it stood up. Then I realized that it was not a bear. It was too tall. Some of the hair I noticed on the back of the legs were thicker. The side of the leg, I could see some skin. But I didn't get to see notice anything of the hands because the hands were kind of in front of it. But I did notice the arms were quite long, and the hair was hanging off of the arms here on the front of the arms like this. I wish I'd got to see the hands better. And, like I said, just that face, man, if I could have got to see that face, that would have been it for me. I would own up and, just say, hey, I had a Bigfoot sighting, but I just can't. I just can't tell everybody, hey, I had a Bigfoot sighting. They talk about the different types of Bigfoot. And to me, I've never experienced some of the types that they actually talk about. Some of the ones that are like your orangutans, the ones that are just dark red. You have some types, it's called the gugwe, that are really violent and have a bad temper. The ones with the canines. Then there's the ones that kind of have like a snout. I believe a lot of people that have these so-called dogman sightings is a big possibility that that's what they're seeing as a Bigfoot, and they're just not getting a good look. These sightings happen so fast. Mine was in 15 seconds, and this thing was out of sight. There's no way a human could have ran that fast. It was to me, it was kind of like it was almost gliding. It was going so fast. It was running. I mean, it was gone. There's just, and I've scratched my head and I've tried to deep think about this, and there's no way it could have been a person in a suit, because I didn't see anything baggy, to make me think, oh, this is someone in a suit. Because if you're seasoned, you've been out in the field long enough, and you've actually seen something like that, you've researched it and looked into other reports and watched videos, you can tell when it's someone in a suit, because a suit will be baggy on no matter what size the person is. That's a dead giveaway right there to me.
So did you say how close you were when you had the visual of it, or?
It was about 20 yards away. It was real close.
Yeah,
but
pretty close. Pretty close.
It like startled me, I reached down, I started walking backwards and reached down to grab my backpack that I actually had my camera equipment, my cell phone in, and I completely forgot that I had that stuff with me. Reached down, grabbed it, my walking stick, and started walking backwards. I wanted to keep my eyes in that direction because I didn't know if this thing was going to go down the gully and then come back the other side. It could have circled around the right or to the left of me and be right on top of me before I knowed it. I have been ran out of the area by a mama bear with 2 cubs, and she let me know real quick she wanted me out there. And she walked me right back down the end of the woods and kept her eyes on me halfway down and then turned around and went back. So I wanted to keep my eyes, just to make sure that this thing didn't try to come up and sneak up on me. It scared me. It really did.
Well, how long did it take you to come back to kind of a normal sleep pattern after the event?
It was, I'm going to say at least 6 months. Still to this day, I'll dream about it, and I don't sleep for a day or so, and I'm fine after that. But it just, sometimes my mind don't want to shut off at night, and I'll sit and think about, just replay it all through my head over and over again, what I should have done, like getting my camera out. But I didn't think about all that stuff. I just I was just dumbfounded. My mind kind of went blank when I seen this thing, and I was just trying to comprehend what I was looking at.
Did you have any other symptoms, Jimmy? Like, did you get night sweats or anything like that? Or
night sweats? Yeah, for a long time I was nervous. I was if I heard something outside, or someone outside doing something, if they made a loud noise, I just jump up and go see who it was. Look out the window. That lasted for a while. I've just now got to where I'm settled down. My sleep is good now, but I do still have those nights. Like I said, I'll dream about that, and it'll keep me up for a couple days. And
wow, that man, that's powerful. I can't imagine a guy in a suit could ever do that to somebody. I mean, maybe somebody, but I don't know.
So were the dreams consistent in regards to the imagery and the event in the dreams that you were having?
Oh yeah, it was a couple times when I dream about it and stuff. It was kind of like like I was being attacked by this thing, and I believe it was just the shock and the fear of not knowing what this thing was, and I couldn't see the face that good. I believe if I'd actually got to see the face, it wouldn't have surprised me that much, because I would have known definitely what I was looking at.
Right.
But I was just in shock. I mean, because I'd been told for years, man, you keep getting out in the field, you keep looking, you're going to run into one day. And I did. And I was just, I don't know. I was dumbfounded.
So do you want to see it bump into one again?
Yes, I would like to see another one, and hopefully get some closure for myself and see that face this time, so I could actually look at those eyes, because a lot of researchers and witnesses say that they've seen some of them that had this dark reddish look to their eye, like a gorilla. I've actually taken in reports from the black Bigfoots, solid black Bigfoots with black eyes. There's like almost no iris. So yeah, I would like to get some closure for myself, and just look at that face, so I could. Usually when you look into someone's eyes, you can get a feeling about how this person's personality is.
Yep, totally.
Then I would have known for sure if it was territorial and was going to try to hurt me. But I was just worried about backing up and getting out there, because I'd seen this thing. And
it's a good introduction practicum to prep you for the next time, for sure.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I got a question for you both. Have you ever heard of Sasquatches having fairly large eyes?
Yes.
And how big were the eyes that you've heard people describe?
With a large head, I believe that it's just the anatomy fact that, a creature's bigger, they're going to have, the bigger nose, bigger mouth, bigger eyes. And it's usually proportioned. Some of the witness reports that I've gotten in the past, one, she said that she noticed that the eyes were so big, and I had asked her, could you get an estimate on, just the size? She said they were wider apart. She said, but to her, round circumference, she said from one side of the eye to the next she said at least 3 inches. I said, are you sure? She said, yes. She said, that's one of the things that I noticed right off the bat, how big the eyes were. And that's when she told me. I said, could you tell what color the eyes were? She said they were so dark, it looked like they didn't have an iris.
How about you, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, I was involved with, sketching recreation of a juvenile, and it had big eyes, but the weirdest thing about like that encounter and trying to recreate what the damn thing looked like was we couldn't get the head big enough until finally the guy said it was like a 5-gallon bucket on a little kid's head body. Yeah, and that struck me as odd. In a couple of different ways, struck me as really odd. But yes, weird stuff going on with the eyes. They seem to be big. It would certainly make sense, man. I mean, if you made the assumption that they had big eye sockets that had big optical, mechanics in it, their pupils would be bigger, which would certainly give them, a good night vision. I would say, letting in all that extra light.
Yeah,
that's a thing. I mean, that's known physics. That's known biology. Let's say. Mm-hmm. So yes, I've heard that. And but what struck me odd with the eyes, dude, was the juvenile having a ridiculously sized head, almost like it has to grow into their head kind of situation. And so already having like big eyes in its head. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
You're welcome.
Anything else? You want to talk about genitalia? Bigfoot genitalia?
Not particularly.
Not tonight. That's for another show.
But, biologically speaking, we're the only primates that have larger of that particular thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe we could talk about pendulous breasts. Like Patty had.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to check out of this conversation. You guys go ahead. I'll just watch them.
That's what I was curious to say. It's time to leave the show.
Well, hey, a part of open mic is whatever I bring to the table, too. You never know what you're going to get.
It's your channel.
Hey, but it's been fun, guys. Pat, I appreciate you having me on. Leon, it's nice to meet you, man. Hit me up on Facebook. I've got some reports I can throw your way.
Okay. Are you connected with Pat on Facebook, or how would I find you on Facebook?
Yes, I'm connected. Yeah, Pat. I got Pat on Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah, you can check out Bigfoot Okanagan's channel if you want to, or their Facebook page as well. So.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much. Holler at me, Pat.
You know it, bud.
All right, guys. See y'all later.
See you, Jimmy.
See you, Jimmy.
Okay.
All right, Leon. You want to? Are we calling it an open mic success tonight? What's up? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I wanted to talk other things, of course, but I can't. You've tied my mouth.
No, I don't.
I get you.
Yeah.
But
I'm just trying
about it offline.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. All right, then I'll wrap it up, man. I'm 2 hours, so I'm not going to go 3 hours tonight. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, Kim's going to be pissed at you too. I seen you talking to her in the background.
Yeah, she's already mumbling now.
And thanks Kim for adding me as her friend there on Facebook.
Yes, we sent you the Leon store we found in rural Georgia.
Well, I knew I had a store there. I forgot about it.
Right. You're making millions and you don't even
millions of millions.
Yes. It was a cool like American dive convenience store. So
that's what it's all about. Cool American dive. Yeah.
Yes. Cool American.
There's a little rugged.
Yes. Has everything in it.
True.
Shoelaces, vibrators, you name it. You need it. You stop in here. We have everything. Yes. Come on, the Leon's warehouse.
There was a little post office station in there. I felt I was in like 1876 all of a sudden. Like, where's my horse? Yeah, Leon's. All right, so we've come full circle.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna end the live broadcast. Thanks for watching, guys. thanks for participating in Open Mic Night. Glad everyone was here. Hope it was interesting. We shifted gears a couple of times. That's fine. That's what Open Mic Night's all about. And we'll see. I'm not sure what we got this Friday. Don't have a guest book yet, but I'll work on that. If not, we'll do a free-for-all, whatever, with the panel. We'll bring the guys back in. We haven't done that in a while, it feels like. But and people love the panel. They love the panel. But I'm like, I can't do the panel like 5 nights a week, guys.
I can't either. I'm having a problem just getting online.
Leon can't. I mean, none of the guys can do it, you know. And what makes the panel even more interesting is when you haven't seen them for 2 weeks. So, yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching, guys. Check me out on Anchor. Check me out on Spotify. If you want the audio versions of this, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're on Twitch, go to Twitch. I'm on Twitch. Blah, blah, blah. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you later.